Hey everybody, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to say this all in post. I'm gonna try to. I had a very fascinating and phenomenal encounter and time down by Cumberland Island, which, for those who aren't aware, Cumberland Island is a national park. You can only get to it by ferry, and there's not a lot of people there at all. There's barely any people ever there. At least I've been there once before, and both times there's never been anybody. So I go to the island, I walk to the beach. It's like a 1.5 2-mile walk to the beach. And then I was told before I went, I was told you have to go back to Cumberland, which I didn't want to because it's a fee-based place and it's $80 just to get in. It's $40 for the national park entry fee and another $40 for the ferry. And I'm very like, I don't want to do that, I prefer finding the free places that are just way out of reach from people. And my guys are like, no, do it, trust. So I did. I'm glad I did. I had a great time. I went to the beach, and then I walked down to the South Point. Now, yesterday I was on the opposite side of I don't know if you call it a harbor or a river or whatever is right there. I was on the opposite side yesterday looking at Cumberland Island. Today I was traveled down to the point, and they're like, you need to go down to this point and collect stuff. There's going to be stuff there for you. So I go down, and I'm like, well, what am I getting into? What am I collecting? What is it there for me here? And I start finding things. I start finding conchs. I found a sea urchin shell. I found all kinds of just cool snail shells, all kinds of stuff, all for the whole adoptive spirit program, bridging the consciousness of different beings from the ocean to people and helping them communicate and connect with these beings. And so I'm out there and I'm walking down, and it's a 3-mile plus walk down the beach to get to this point. And as soon as I get to this one spot, so first of all, before I get to that spot, I go take a break. The ocean's like, you need to go eat lunch, you need to take a break, drink water, get into some shade. So I find a ferry inlet, which I posted about earlier. Actually, no, the post didn't take. I have to repost that. So that's a reminder for me to repost that. But I find this little ferry space that I sit in, and then I leave, and immediately wild horses, there's 2 of them sitting there. Now I saw 4 when I entered the island. Immediately, like, I was the first person walking down this path. I can walk really fast, get ahead of everybody, leave everybody in the dust type of deal. And there were 4 wild horses I got to spend some time with. And then when I walk over the dunes after lunch, 2 of the wild horses are out by the ocean a lot, and they see me and they start watching me, and I can feel they're protecting me. And I'm like, okay, they're not afraid of me. And I walk down the beach, and they just look at me. They stand there and watch where I'm going. And I'm like, this is weird. They're just standing there. I'm like a half mile down the beach, and I look back, and they're still standing there, but they're not looking at the ocean anymore. They're watching me. And so I keep going, and I get to a place where there is like a break wall going out, and I can tell that the energy is changing and shifting, and I go, and I'm like, oh, this is the space. There's even a marker of bones, 2 bones laid in like an X, and then a bone pounded down into the sand. Now, I was told the whole time by my guides, by different spirits I ran into, you have to go down there. There's stuff for you down there. I'm like, okay. So I go in anyway, knowing like I got a warning sign already. And I go in knowing this is somebody's territory. I don't know what's going to happen. But then I start finding some really cool stuff. Some like dead, I think they're called barnacles anyway. But just beautiful purple and pink colors and all this stuff that's around these shells. And I'll show those later. But So I start collecting them like I was guided to. Every time I was picking up trash too, I was taking trash out, and it would be funny because I'd pick up trash and then like an ocean fairy would run by and be like, "Oh, you picked that up? Okay, right there, pick that up." And that's how I found the sea urchin. I picked up trash and boom, sea urchin shell and some of the other cool stuff that I found. So I'm picking up trash and I'm picking up these barnacle pink purple things that are really cool and highly energetic. They have a lot of energy to them. And I'm like, okay, put them in my bag, and I start heading out. As soon as I get to where I'm about to exit, two masculine merfolk start basically berating me and being like, you put those back, don't you dare take those are ours, they came out of the ocean. It was like, what the heck is going on? I've been told to take these the whole trip. So they're arguing with me for 10-15 minutes, and I'm telling them, you can't touch me, like, I'm sovereign, like, don't even try it, type of thing. And they're arguing with me, telling me all this stuff that they might potentially do and all this. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, you can't touch me, but I'm going to put this stuff back. I'm not comfortable having it anymore. So I sit down to put it back, and I hear a voice say, don't you dare put it all back. Just put the wet ones down. Put the ones that weren't just drying in the ocean or drying in the sand. Put the ones that are just a little bit wet and were touched by the waves. And I'm like, okay. So I put all those down, and I'm sad because those were the nicest pieces too. You know, they didn't have the creature, the mussels or whatever that live inside in them. They didn't have those in them. They were the nicest pieces. They were just a little bit wet from the tide coming in. And they keep at it, but it's like doing that was kind of an offering where they kind of like went, oh, okay. But then they called in their queen, which was their mistake, because I'm walking along and I start I'm like, you got to put it all back. The wild horses come up, and before I put them back, actually, the wild horses had come up, and one walked right, like within a hand's reach of me, just walked by me, and I heard him say, man, I wouldn't take anything from over there. I wouldn't do that. And I was like, I'm being told to by my guides, by my spirit team, like, these need to be out there. What is going on? And I'm fighting and like asking my guys, what is going on? I need clarification. Am I supposed to take these or not? Like, they are pissed that I have these. I just set those down. I still have some. Do I take them? All of a sudden, this feminine energy comes flying off of the ocean, big, beautiful merfolk looking woman. And she's like, don't you dare put any of those back. She's like, I am their queen. She called herself the Queen of Atlantia. She was very clear it was not Atlantis. It was Atlantia is what I was to call it. She was the queen, and they would have to deal with her. They did not know who I was, why I was there. They are not fond of humans. They are there to protect the land, and they were doing their duty, but they also have a very strong dislike of humans and did not know what I was doing. And she starts just putting them in their place, and you can feel the energy of like, like crap. And so I'm still confused because I'm like, am I supposed to take these or not? And she goes, go down by the ocean. They show, when I get down there, there's a beautiful conch, probably the best one I've found. And I hear them say, do a trade, give us the stuff back and you can have the conch. And I'm like, and then I heard her go, no. You take that conch. You take what we give you. It is for you. You are spreading light. You are taking it. This is all for you. Do not listen to them. I am dealing with them. And I'm like, holy cow. She was furious at those two individuals. And then I'm like, okay, am I just getting messed with here? What's going on? And she goes, put your hands in the water. And I go out and I put my hands in the water, and she goes, Willow, these are for you. These are your gifts. This is for you to help spread light in the world. And she goes, this is for validation that I am really here. And immediately, there were no waves. It was like very low water. Immediately a wave rolls in and covers my feet, which I'm in my shoes. My shoes weren't in the water, covers my shoes and everything. And I go, oh, okay. So then I talked to her for the next, it was a 3 mile, 4 mile walk back. So I kept talking to her, but time's running out. So I'll talk about this more in the future. Thank you for watching. Love you all. Awakenwithwillow.com to support the journey.